What's up? So last night was the premiere of Captain America: Brave New World. I went and watched it the first night it came out because I didn't want any of it to get spoiled for me. And I'm not gonna lie, before I went into it, I was looking at Rotten Tomatoes reviews on this movie and seeing that it was a 51, and I was really underwhelmed walking in. I was thinking this movie is gonna be one of the worst movies we've had in the Marvel franchise for a while. Also, sorry, I'm sick, so I'm gonna sound rough. But anyways, I don't know why this movie is rated so bad. This movie is easily like a 7.5 out of 10 at the least. Like I could give it an 8 out of 10. I loved it. I mean, there were obviously problems in the movie. This movie got reshot like 5 or 6 times throughout the 4 years of it being made, or whatever, however long it took to make it. They got reshot multiple times, and when you're watching it, you can definitely tell that some parts were shot in the beginning of this whole movie, like the whole shoot, and then some parts were added in later that were different shoots, if that makes sense. So it definitely kind of looked mashed up, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know why this movie is getting so much hate and so much flack. It definitely isn't an S tier, S plus movie like the Winter Soldier and Civil War Captain America. It's nothing like that. It's not as good as those, but it's easily a 7.5 8 out of 10. Um, Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, I was the most surprised that I've ever been with any Marvel character. At first, I really didn't know how I felt about him being Captain America. I know in the comics he becomes it, but I was just really worried that they were going to go too much into the racial side of it, which they got to, because, I mean, he is a black Captain America. But I was just worried that's going to be all this movie's about. And honestly, they didn't really talk much about it. I mean, they said some things, and Isaac Bradley, the OG, like the first Captain America ever, or whatever you want to call him, was in the movie a lot, and he played a pretty big role. But it wasn't anything like I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be some racial propaganda, and I was not looking forward to that. But he really did surprise me as Sam Wilson, Captain America. He, for one, the fights in this movie are so good. He knows how to fight. When I go into spoilers a little bit later, I'll explain some stuff that he does, but I'm just saying I've never seen Chris Evans, Steve Rogers do some of the things that he did in this movie, and I thought they were pretty cool and almost better than some of the stuff Chris Evans did. Now, Chris Evans is the Captain America. He'll never not be the Captain America to me. I love him. He played the role the best he could, and he was perfect. But, man, Sam Wilson is a good hero. I really liked every moment he was on screen. There was not a moment when he was on screen I felt that dragged. I just thought he was really good. Also, Joaquin Torres, the Falcon now, he's a really good side character. I was not looking forward to anything with him. In Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he was alright, but he was just kind of like bland. But in this show, he has a huge role, and I loved it. He's like the perfect young Falcon. Like, I couldn't imagine anybody else being that Falcon. He's definitely got a lot to learn, or whatever you want to say, but he was pretty perfect, and I really liked his role. Also, Harrison Ford as Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross was perfect. Unfortunately, the actor that played Thunderbolt Ross died a few years back, so they had to recast him, which sucks. He was perfect in that role. I loved him in Incredible Hulk. Incredible Hulk's just a really like guilty pleasure movie. I love that movie, even though it's bad. I find it really fun. But yeah, Harrison Ford was one of these standout characters in this movie. Half the movie, I was thinking, man, this is a Harrison Ford, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross movie, not a Captain America movie. So all that being said, now I'm going to talk about a few things that are kind of rough with this movie. I also will start going into spoilers, so if you don't want it spoiled or you haven't seen the movie, I'd click off now. But if you just don't care about spoilers or you just don't care to watch it, you can keep watching. But like I just said, it almost felt like his movie at times, which kind of sucked because I really wanted this to be about Captain America, and it was, but honestly, after the first few scenes, it felt like it wasn't a Captain America movie anymore, and it felt like an Incredible Hulk sequel. If you did not watch the Incredible Hulk, you are not going to know anything on what's going on in this movie at all. If you watch this movie without watching Incredible Hulk, you're going to be so confused. But like I said, I love Incredible Hulk, so I love this movie. I actually thought the leader was done pretty good. I mean, he wasn't like perfect. He wasn't like comic book leader where he had the big old head and had all these powers, but he was pretty good. Samuel Stearns, he was a pretty good villain. I kind of knew after like the first opening fight, I kind of put it together already though, that he was like the main guy that was like, he was the buyer. They call him the buyer. At the beginning of the movie, there's a fight scene, and the Serpent Society is trying to sell adamantium to the buyer, and the buyer doesn't show up. And after that, I kind of knew that it was the leader the whole time, setting up this whole thing from like prison and all that. And then it cuts to Captain America, Joaquin Torres, and then Isaac Bradley. They're going to the White House for just a big old conference that Harrison Ford, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, is having to explain to each country that, hey, we're going to share this big adamantium block in the middle of the ocean. And then Isaac Bradley just kind of goes mentally insane and shoots at Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. And at that moment, I just like knew the leader was obviously taking control of. So it kind of took the mystery part away from me. I already knew that. But I still liked how they done him. I think he was done pretty well for what he was given. He's not like an S-tier villain. He's not like the best villain of all time. Sorry about that. Anyways, back to the leader. Like I was saying, he's not like the best villain of all time, but he definitely is a pretty good villain. I really liked him. His look, his design, though, you can definitely tell it was CGI'd. Like, obviously it's CGI'd, but like, it's rough. At the end of the movie, like I said at the beginning, this is a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear this, click off. But he turns himself in, and that scene that he's turning himself in, if you know what I'm talking about, he looks horrible. Like, it literally like looks like a stick figure just sitting there. It's so weird. But final thing I want to talk about is this guy right here. Red Hulk was the star of the movie. He was in the movie for maybe 7 or 8 minutes, and it was perfect. I love Hulk. He is one of my favorite heroes. I love him so much, and the fact that he's been done dirty ever since Avengers Age of Ultron, I guess, was the last time we really got a good Hulk. And the fact that Red Hulk is so good in the scenes that he's in was perfect. The action scenes of Red Hulk are the best action scenes we have got in a movie in Marvel since I don't even know when. Maybe Guardians 3, but probably before that. Like, they were perfect. There was at one point, it was at the beginning of the fight, Sam Wilson comes down, throws a shield at him, catches it, and then Hulk like tries to jump at him, and he like side boosts out of the way, and then Hulk thunderclaps and destroys basically the whole White House. I was so hyped. I'm like, I have missed this Hulk for so long. So the fact that he was just awesome was so cool. What sucks is if you watch all the trailers, you've seen about 70% of what Hulk does. But in the movie, it just works. Like, I felt like I was happy with every moment he was on screen. And I really, really hope he comes back to another movie and does more hulking, because it was perfect. I loved every second of it. And then there were 2 cameos in this movie, I guess. People were saying that in some of the clips it looked like people were edited out, and I was hoping it was true, and then that Bruce Banner would come in and fight Red Hulk, which would have been awesome to see. I would have loved every second of that. But there is that one moment in the movie where they're fighting over the adamantium. It's America versus Japan. They're about to start a war, and both Falcons come in and try to like de-escalate it. Well, Joaquin Torres gets shot out of the sky and lands in the water. Well, he like basically dies but doesn't die. Like, he goes into a coma and he's like almost dead. Well, Sam is sitting there watching them do surgery on him and just sitting there contemplating about his life basically. And then out of the corner of his eye, he sees someone walk in, and he goes, "Please leave. This is a private room. I don't want anybody near me," or something like that. And then Bucky puts his hand on him and says, "Hey, bud." And that was just awesome to see that Bucky is in. Well, another major gripe about this, Bucky is a congressman. How does that work? Bucky was the Winter Soldier 10 movies ago. He killed JFK. He killed Howard Stark in this universe, and now he is running for congressman, or he is Congress. He's a congressman. Like, what? And then the president of the United States is Red Hulk. The politics in the MCU are a little wicked. That's all I gotta say about that. And then the second pseudo cameo is at the end, where Sam Wilson is talking to Thunderbolt Ross while he's in his prison cell at the raft. And they're like talking, they work everything out, they're having a good time, they're like friends now, and then he says, "Alright, I gotta go, but you have another visitor." And he goes, "Well, I don't have anybody else." And then his daughter, Betty Ross, comes out and starts talking to him, and it was just perfect, because we haven't seen Betty Ross since 2008 in Incredible Hulk, so the fact that they're tying in this universe like that is pretty good. Yeah. The last thing I can think about talking about with this movie is the post-credit scene. You don't gotta wait for it. I sit there and waited. There's like 12 minutes of credits, and I sit there and waited, and at the end, it's just Sam Wilson talking to the leader in the raft, and the leader goes, "I've been doing all this calculations in my head, and this being is coming. He's coming, and you're not gonna be able to stop him." And Sam kind of just looks at him, and he goes, "He will be here." And then Sam looks at the leader again, and then that's just the end. Like, it's just more multiversal stuff that they're trying to set up, which is okay because we're in the multiversal saga, but I was really hoping there was going to be like some post-credit scene where like Bruce Banner comes in and talks to him, or just something like that, but no. But yeah, Captain America Brave New World, easily a 7.5, 8 out of 10 for me. I mean, it was a good movie. It was not perfect, it was not great, but it wasn't horrible or bad. It was just good. Like, here's mid, here's the movie. It was just right there. Like, 7.5 out of 10. You should definitely go watch it if you have the chance. It was definitely worth it. It's not a 51% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know what they're thinking. But, yeah, I believe Thunderbolts comes out in 2 months. That'll be the next Marvel movie I watch. I'm not the most hyped for that movie. It kind of looks bland, but we'll see how that one is. But Brave New World is pretty good. Go watch it. Yeah, see ya.